So we've done the first part of this wall. We're now going to go through and set up some statues, and then duplicate this and build our big rock wall around it. So the easiest way for us to do this is, because we want statues, we go down to statues, and there's this folder just here that we can work from. I'm going to get this, and this is going to kind of look like this large entryway piece that we're going to have. So if I get this character and I scale it up to, say, oops, I really want to do a uniform scale here, so it's like that. Kind of coming up along there. Since I know this asset is kind of centered, I'm going to move this support base back and build it off of the top of that. So I've dragged that back. Fortunately, the pivot point isn't centered. That's okay. Let's set this to be cool. Probably go all the way down to that one, and then have this come up as the decorative base that sits atop it. Yeah, that's okay. So we've got that set up as a piece. I'm gonna go through and grab this buttress and pull it to here as well. On either side of it, I think will look nice. Great. So it's at this point that I'm going to now go through, just add some quick rubble and stuff to that, and then duplicate it and put it on the other side so that we've got this as kind of the dividing section. Before I do though, I really want to fill in this upper wall sections with something that's a bit more interesting. So to do that, a nice way is going to be to find these rounded off pieces. I'm going to drag that into the world. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm just going to spin it 90 degrees. Next thing I'm going to do is increase it to about 1.5 and pull it right back into the wall, just enough that it will cast a shadow. And I can now do an Alt. I rotated it then, but unfortunately you can see where the pivot point is, and it caused that. But that's alright. We can do what we have been doing, right? Alt drag across, right click, transform, mirror X, and then we connect it up. Now, ideally I want to kind of have this going across the top. I think that'll look quite nice if that connects the whole way through. Now this will eventually be covered in rock for a section of this, so instead of finding somewhere to line them up, like as far as the outer walls are going to go, I'm going to have this dipping into here so that it looks like it was meant to line up with that doorway beneath. And I'm going to need to do something to fix that seam that's running along it too. That's couple of ways to handle that. Yep. Okay, so we've got that lined up. I think the quickest, easiest way for us to kind of cover that seam is going to be just to set something up over the top of it. There's a couple of different options here. Let you choose your own. I think I'm gonna go with having something like a statue set up, kind of covering it at just a slight angle. Don't know what it is. Let's get this asset. This is going to be wherever these touch. I'm going to have coming out just a little. Switch to local and just pull it forward so for the wings. And then I'm going to set up a structure under it. And because these are right above here as well, it should look alright. Or I could just delete them entirely and just have this go the whole way up. That works. Scale to a value of 3, perfectly covers that. I'll drag across. Pretty. Now we end up with that structure instead. And it looks intentional, so that's good. And from here, it's a good idea for us to kind of do something similar on the stage up from it, so have some more kind of intricate meshing going on directly above it. So I'm going to get this, and I'm going to once again just turn it up in size. 2 seems good. I'm less and less concerned with this because again we're going to have a rock wall coming up to here, so I don't need to care too much. And finally, the only things that I really need to do to kind of complete this section off is I'm going to bring this, actually I'm going to grab both of them, I'm going to bring this further up just so we have a column going the whole way just in case. And now I have the fun job of selecting all of this and duplicating and moving it across. Actually, just before I do, I'm going to add some of these, just finding content browser. I'm going to add some of these to the pillars, and I'm going to add some flags as well. So if I drag this in, nice. I'll put another one over here. Snap grid 5. Great. Just a little bit going on there. And as well as that, I wouldn't mind dropping in that flag that is in the earth section. I'm just going to click on content, do search for flag. And the one that I'm going to drag in is just going to be here. So I want to put a flag that's kind of just blowing in the wind here. Now at the moment this flag's really blowing along this y-axis. Turn that value down or up by scaling it. Oh wait, no, it's being done with that shader. Okay, cool. So just a little bit of the flag going there, which works reasonably well. I'm going to put one of those on either side. Cool. Flag, flag. Now I'm going to duplicate that across and then start building from that as our castle wall. So now you've got to go through and select everything and then Alt drag across. So Control. Now it's at this point that I'm going to switch this to first I'm going to hide everything that I know I need to hide that's in that area, including the floors. And I'm going to hide the statue and the pillar, And finally I'm going to hide that. And the reason I'm hiding those assets specifically is, in theory, if I was to go to my top window and look at the section here, I should have the ability to select all of that. Now, this has grabbed something that, yeah. So I'm just going to hide any of those assets too. Something is at 0, 0, but that's okay. Okay, let's just quickly see. I'm grabbing something in the distance, I just don't know what it is. Okay, there we go. Somehow I was grabbing the landscape gizmo. So hide that. I can now see that if I drag over here, I can select just those meshes. So I can alt drag across, and this time I can go again, right click, transform, mirror on X. And what I'm going to use as my point of alignment when I'm doing this is going to be this round mesh here. So I can see that when this is rounded off, it should just be touching on there. And keep in mind that you can control click to kind of reselect that point, but this should be just there. Now I know this is aligned because both of these floor pieces were already in place. However, I duplicated one of them, so if I was to click on that and hit delete, it would get rid of the upper one. But Control H to add everything back, we've now got our fort front, which looks like it'll do pretty well for what we want to have. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to just quickly keep meshing away, at which point we're going to, we're nearly at the end of the meshing. There should only be one more of these before we kind of move into quick stuff. And then we can start setting up the game that we're going to have built on top of this.